Everybody please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
I think the
Go ahead.
no addition. There's no additions in here. Make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made and second, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the consent agenda.
That's where I had a comment on.
Huh?
I had a comment on the consent agenda. The financial information was not in the packet. We were right in the middle of doing some payroll and some different things, and updating stuff, so I'll have it out after.
So that's,
So that's not,
gotcha.
Do I hear a motion on the consent agenda?
If this includes the minutes,
yep.
Yes.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A second.
Without the financials, obviously.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Now we're going down to guest speakers, communication informational items. Turn it over to Travis.
So I wanted to take a moment and recognize Officer Patterson for his work that he's been doing with us. And so I wrote a letter of commendation for you. And so what it says is you were hired as a police officer for the town of Lakeview in March 2016. In the 18 months you've worked for the department, you've shown good decision-making skills and staying calm in a crisis. You have gone above and beyond the call of duty, turning simple calls of service or abnormal behavior into bigger cases such as drug arrests, weapons charges. You know, the cases of which I'm referring to. And these actions protect the public and get criminals off the streets. In the early morning hours of September 26, you were called to assist the Lake County Sheriff's Department, the Oregon State Police, in regarding a pursuit coming from California. The Modoc County Sheriff's Department, El Terrace Police Department, and California Highway Patrol were pursuing a fleeing suspect whom tried to assault officers with his vehicle. Your quick thinking and employment of stop sticks allowed for the pursuit to come to an end without the use of additional force in an area protecting the citizens of Lakeview from harm. Without your intervention and that of Deputy Magazzini and the other pursuing officers that night, the pursuit would likely have continued into Lakeview, putting the public in harm's way. I want to take this time to thank you for your continued dedication to the police department and protecting the citizens of Lakeview and Lake County. Thank you. Thank you. You too, buddy. Good job.
Thank Bye.
Bye, guys. Nice of you to come.
Man, Travis, you can clear a room.
I can.
Okay, next on there is the chamber road closure. Brianna?
It's not really the chamber road closure.
Okay.
Sir Optimus approached me about a month ago asking what it took to close the road, and somehow I got volunteered for this because apparently I'm good at it. So the road between Lumberman's and the TJ Family Fun Center, the bowling alley, they would like to close that from approximately 1:30 to 6:30 for their Oktoberfest celebration. I got in contact with Officer Grindle, who spoke with Kirk, who said that he will have people out of church as fast as possible that day, so they're not in harm's way. Lumberman's told me they're not going to be there, so they don't care. and Chuck Kelly knows too. So I spoke with all the businesses. Travis also spoke with ODOT, and they're gonna put up signs letting people know that there's gonna be cars parked on the side of the roads, but that's all that I had to do for them. So, and Sorokin said they had insurance to cover whatever happens under their event.
So you're asking for from the church to
So-
the highway?
Yeah, so just that, where the intersection is right there to the church area. The idea is in case there's vendors that are at Oktoberfest, in case we have to put some of them towards the road, that way they're safe. Right there, and there's a cow there too.
Oh,
Cow in there for cowboy bingo.
It sounds to me like you have all your, everything covered there,
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
or will be covered.
And police and public works, no problem with this, right?
No, I'm fine with it. Like she said, I've already talked to Steve Anderson with ODOT and asking him if there was anything that needed to be covered because of the increased traffic on the highway. He said he was fine with it. He would put up signs probably at Hall Motors and somewhere around Starts Electric that's gonna say congestion ahead, just giving people an alert. We'll probably get a radar reader board out there so we can get people slowed down. And I don't see a problem with it at all. I think it'll be good.
We can approve this by consensus, is that right?
So I hear a motion on to close.
No problem.
Yeah, I think we're good with it. No
Okay.
problem.
you can just pull this.
Excited, I'm on the electric one.
As far as I can see, there are no objections, is there?
Thank you.
Okay,
But you might
Good to
want to
go.
put a plug in for Bossy Bingo tickets.
there's a town hall meeting with Representative Ben out at Adel on December 4th.
Just information.
And
Representative Vince, he doesn't cover Lakeview, does he?
No, he covers just north of
The rural
Lakeview,
area.
he covers it,
Yeah,
it's
that's what
just
I
kind of a little,
Yeah, it like just jog trail
Yeah,
outside
outside of it, yeah.
of the town limits.
but, no, I got.
No, it's good, that he's coming to this area.
Yeah, he was here not too long ago, and then the mayor and I met with him, and he's such an informative guy, and he's done so much for the state.
Yeah, he has,
gotten
for sure.
numerous dollars for our transportation packages, and he's amazing,
He's
so,
strong.
yeah, he really is.
we can see if there was a time on there.
Gas.
It's at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a letter here, request for donation from the Lake County Library Endowment Fund.
Is this something we've done in the past?
I don't think so.
I don't recall it. It's a new request as far as I know. I don't.
No, we don't have a line item that I saw, it might
No.
have some other
Do not,
area.
no.
Kind of falls in the category of what we've had to do lately to
Yeah.
other organizations.
Right.
We don't have the budget right now. for
It's
that.
not in there, so,
So I encourage people to go to it though and participate.
yeah,
Yep, it's a good event.
It's
Yep.
out there.
all right. Okay.
They have who's their speaker this year?
Cleve Brock.
Cleve Brock from Lakeview, so that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting, yeah, there is things. So we're saying as a, not at this time.
And then Library Endowment Dinner is October 21st. And for those of you who do not know Cleve Brock, he was in a band called Brew. He played here in Lakeview for years. And they played out here at Rodeo Weekend too, a few times. Okay. Public comment period. Do you have any public comments? Okay. We'll move on to department reports. Scott Utley, he is gone on a training, a meeting.
Training and then,
Dennis?
I have nothing further unless you have questions.
Okay. Travis, Do you have anything?
Nothing further than the presentation, unless you have any questions. Sorry about the big report.
Thanks for you guys' work. The presentation was very nice. It's been a great asset to the community.
Absolutely.
Public Works, Jeff?
Just what's on my report there, I just wanted to add one thing. We spoke briefly at one of the earlier meetings about problems we were having with our new well, and we want to get moving forward on that. I spoke with several hydrologists, and I ended up settling on an outfit out of Boise called SPF Water Engineering. A hydrologist named Terry Scanlon. I asked him if it was in the realm of his area of expertise. He said it's just perfectly suited. Our problem is perfectly suited for what he does. So I'm gonna meet with him a couple more times on the phone and then maybe plan a trip down here for him, and we'll see what we can get going on that new well, get it back online. So
Good.
moving forward with that. Hopefully by the time we need it next year, we'll have that going.
Daryl's not here. The old business of the lodging tax ordinance, we tabled that. So now we'll go on to new business. Resolution number 4, IGAD wood smoke reduction agreement. Okay. What resolution, Dawn, is that?
That would be 916.
Pardon?
916.
Okay. I hear a motion on it. On resolution 916.
Just to summarize what this is, it's an agreement that's been in place before. This is just ultimately an update, right?
Right,
And
and-
we've been doing this for about 4 years now.
Right, and what it does is helps with all the expenses, or not all obviously, but the expenses that go towards advertisement for different things, the phone, or part of Don's salary now, or whatever, for, making sure that we can stay within this PM advance plan. So,
And ultimately, this money is coming from the state, is that
from the
correct?
EQ, yeah.
DEQ.
Yep.
And the agreement just is really because we're agreeing to use the money for ways that, as outlined in our plan that we adopted earlier. I see no problem with this. I do, think that we need to work with Don and Mayor, if you do that, then we can get that agreement in place if changes need to be made there. So I would move to approve resolution 916 in the matter of Lake County Town Council approving IGA amendment number 4 wood smoke reduction program with DEQ.
Did you say Lake County?
Sorry, I probably did town council.
No.
Wow. You can see that I'm trying to get to a soccer game.
One more. So this,
Is there a motion made, or a second?
I'll second resolution 916 in the matter of the Lakeview Town Council approving IJ amendment number 4.
Motion made and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. We'll move on to the,
917.
okay, this next one here, Roberta needs to explain a little something we did, because, which is the resolution LS Networks lease agreement. This is the one you was talking about this morning?
Correct, right.
Okay,
And basically what LS Networks has been working with our legal counsel, myself and the engineer to find a location where they could put this, it's called a point of presence shelter, and it's just a pretty small building. not even really a building, but it's where they house everything before it goes out into the streets and stuff. And so,
Everything.
like all their,
Head end is what they, I think they.
you know, for fiber optics and stuff, it's kind of just a little,
So this is a storage shed.
it's not really even a storage shed. It's, more of a, just a,
So,
It's where, it's the terminal.
yeah, terminal.
Head end
Yeah.
for their,
Right.
so, like you say, it's not a storage shed.
It is, yeah, yeah, but anyway, and what they want to do is lease a 10 by 10 foot piece of property, which is right next to the mayor's building, but on the towns in the park there, right next to that little alley. And of course, you can't go on any of our infrastructure, which I found out some more today about some stuff that's up there, and I don't know, I'm sure you know, Jeff. We'll talk
I
about
thought
it.
it was all subgrade, a building that actually
Yeah,
sticks up.
I thought it was a building that stuck up just a little
I thought the
bit.
plan looked like it was all like a vault.
Well, I can only see with one eye.
so, you know, it's saying a 10 by 10 portion
Uh-huh,
of that area.
yeah.
I'm not, you really
Behind
see a
the-
map in here,
Is it
to understand exactly what we're talking
Is
about?
it behind the tennis courts?
It's
Yeah,
beside,
it'd be this side of
this
the
side of the
tennis
tennis
court.
courts and the fence, in between those two.
So,
Why there for them? I mean, is it where it's convenient for them to utilize those supplies, or?
It is, and I know that when they first started talking about it, they wanted it up more towards the steps of the park, you know, right out, you know, which, you know, people use that area, so, that wasn't the best location, so we thought this would be okay.
Is that like up where that concrete pad is? Is
Just-
that concrete pad that's about where you're talking, just up from those buildings?
Yeah, no, it's not up that far, it's right,
you're really talking between the Marius and between the tennis courts.
Yeah,
Right.
that's,
On
Right.
this side of the driveway that goes
Right.
by
you know
Marius.
where that driveway
So the
goes?
grass
Yeah.
area that's.
Yeah, so it's just a little
So-
grass area.
Maybe I missed it, but is there some kind of financial impact to
Yep.
us in this? What was
Maybe
that number?
what they, it's in it, something.
That's the alley in the Maryland building, the sidewalk. Okay. Yeah, there's a guy having a parking there.
So I know we've talked in the past, it hasn't been brought up recently, but about changing those tennis courts to possible basketball courts. Exactly. So, maybe I missed it, what was the number?
That is 600 per year. It, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. So,
Right.
I find this really interesting, because obviously this is different than the scale of what,
And the tennis courts are right here.
trying to remember.
I don't see it.
There's a proposal by another company
Right,
to do something on school grounds, and it's a totally different number than what is being proposed here. But that's more of a cell tower kind of
oh,
thing. So,
well, and I know we had another
I'm not getting myself in
company.
hot water if that was executive.
Oh, but we did have another company that came and asked us also, and they wanted a larger area, like an acre. How much did they want? Like 100 by 100. And they actually built out on,
They bought a piece of property on Roberta.
right. So, you know, we didn't have something for them to store their vehicles, and in fact, they had a pickup or two, so.
This is actually more of a pole box for actual fiber network to come into, where they were actually
Built.
looking for a place to stage from.
Right.
So it's a different thing, but I'm not sure.
how do the lines get to that box, to their junction box? Is it through the alley there? Is that, are they gonna tear up all
They have
kinds
a
of?
huge plan
for fiber
to
optic?
do a whole bunch of boring with fiber
Boring,
optic.
okay, so underneath it won't harm anything on top of the ground.
Well, I wouldn't say it's not gonna harm.
How about
Yeah.
underground? Do
Well,
you
they have
have
to
anything in
replace
there?
what they
Not sticking
destroyed.
that by any means.
And we may want to just table this for right now.
Why, has our town engineer looked at this, or?
Yeah, both the engineer and the attorney have looked at it.
And they were comfortable with it?
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing you gotta look at too is that,
Oh, okay.
the culvert that comes out of Bullard also runs down under there and in front of the Maris building.
They're about 20 feet off to the side.
Yeah, it goes right down along Thornton's.
Right down the center. No, first.
Yeah.
Well, I'm perfectly comfortable tabling.
Tabling it until we
I-
get
Can
more
we look
information.
into what perhaps they're getting for these types of systems in other communities as far as an agreement? That seems awful low, that's a minute amount for somebody who's gonna make a lot of money out of the internet services that they'll provide through the fiber optic, so.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, why don't we table this so the engineers can look at it and stuff? Because like I said, there's that drain culvert that runs right along there too. And if they start doing boring,
Yeah,
they're gonna run into it.
Yeah, the culvert's the least of our worries when they start boring everywhere.
I don't, I
What
drive
are
my feet
more
on it.
important things?
I don't-
Water lines,
We're not in a
sewer
rush.
lines.
We're not in a rush.
Do we have an agreement in place with them that anything they damage, they pay for repairs?
Pretty loose jointed, I think.
I think then that, we need, if there's so many places that they could really disrupt, I don't want anybody disrupting our sewer system, okay?
A lot of it's overhead, a lot of their system's overhead, but there are,
Well, I think it ought to be very clear, if
Thousand
in
feet or
their
so.
boring holes to put whatever their conduits in, then they have to fix it and repair it and leave it at least as good as it was, if not better. And that needs to be very specifically dealt with, or you'll be trying to fix it all.
right.
Enough going on. Okay.
So, well, let's just table this till after the engineers look through it and we get a report
Get
back
more
from them.
information from other
Yeah.
towns.
Okay.
All right. Next, you have your LOC bulletin in here.
Did you get it? I printed them out and I'm not sure that you've got them actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
mine's in there.
All right.
Can we make copies of that?
Sure. There's a whole packet. Maybe like it all.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't had a chance to look at the bulletin. Does it have all of the exciting things that happened at the conference?
No.
It didn't go into that.
No, no, and I spent a lot of time at the conference as far as talking to different representatives from different, a lot of the regional solutions team members.
Oh, you bet.
And that was very beneficial, and they had, really good speakers, but it's pretty much, same thing, but they had some good sessions, the manager's session, I thought was very good. I learned, a few more things that I can hopefully pass on and help our jobs all be better or easier. So,
Well, that's good that you were there to visit, like you said, those entities like the Business Oregon and what have you.
well, and when you can put a name and a face and they know who we are, it does really help, so.
Okay, we'll go to the mayor council updates. Council, do you have anything?
I don't have
Okay,
I've been gone forever, so yeah, can't count on me for anything.
well, the only thing I have is when we do our ATV work session, I did go up and talk to Carl Tracy. He is allowing us to use that alleyway,
Okay, good.
providing that they do it sensibly. Said if they start getting out of hand, then he'll put a gate on it.
Yeah, that one, well, I understand.
So, we're very fortunate there.
This is just a concern that I'm gonna bring up because you mentioned the ATV crossing. When they're selling these little scooters through the hospital across there, are they telling people what the law is for where you can and can't drive those? I see those little scooters going right down the middle of the street.
And
Or the highway.
Not on, or the highway.
Yeah, we've been addressing that.
And
and-
I'd be slapping some fines on some people and make that real, because they are creating some real traffic problems in some cases, and especially, yeah, it's bad enough on the highway, but you get off into little streets where somebody comes ripping around a corner and this guy's right in the middle of the road. And it's like they think they have this all alley oxen free card that they can drive wherever they want. And somehow we need to make that very specific, provide those people with a list of what they can and can't do, and make sure that when he places one of those scooters, that perhaps he gives them that rule so they know ahead of time.
Yeah.
But
And that's
there
becoming
has to be
such
some
a,
kind of regulations that they're not.
well, I
following.
mean, if they don't have a license, they're not supposed to operate them on the street, but they are a motor vehicle. If they're licensed, there's nothing that says they can't operate them on the street other than, you know, in higher speed limits and that kind of a situation. There's enough of them coming on the street nowadays, it may be time for the town to start looking at an ordinance and creating some sort of rules for them to follow. You know, we have pushed them all off the highway because there was a couple of elderly gentlemen causing a huge issue on the highway, driving right down the middle of the highway at 10 miles an hour. And you know, we've asked them, stay on the sidewalks or, you know, use side streets because, you know, less traffic. One of them actually was issued criminal citation by the state police for driving on the highway. His license was actively suspended. And so, and the judge found in the police favor as far as, but also said, as long as there's no more infractions, I'll dismiss it in 6 months. But did uphold the fact that it is a motor vehicle and they're operating it, it's not, you know, a mobile emergency, you know, mobility device, it's an actual motor vehicle. And so, but we do ask all of them, you know, stay off the main streets and then stay to the side of the road. Stay out of traffic. And some are compliant and some are still an issue.
Just so you're aware, they're going down E Street the wrong
I was
direction.
gonna say,
That's been
I've
addressed
seen a
as
lot
well.
of B Street, also four-wheelers
Yep,
going down
wrong
there.
way too.
Well, and the other
You know,
one,
And we stop them when we catch them.
And
it's
they're not using
uncommon.
lights at all at night. Tucker almost hit one the other day.
So,
Came
Gene,
out of nowhere.
you know, I think even the four-wheelers, they need to have lights, that's part of the
Yeah.
rule.
Yep.
So I would look to you to see what you think is most appropriate. Do you want to work directly with legal counsel to look at not reinventing the wheel, but stealing an ordinance from another community
That'd be
that
great.
allows this? And I think it needs to be addressed. We're concerned, like you are, and as the rest of the
I
town.
mean, we used to
with
have
safety.
one or two, now we have a dozen.
Yeah.
at least.
And that's just gonna grow. I mean, we do have a retirement community here. I mean, these people need to have, I mean, especially when we start taking their driver's licenses away, they need to have a way to get around. And I appreciate that we don't have public transportation, so they need some sort of transportation, you know, so I think that we have to have something.
People don't stop unless if you got some teeth with it, so.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that you and legal counsel can work together and bring us some teeth that we can adopt.
I'll throw something out to the Police and Chiefs Association, see if there's any other communities that have existing ordinances in place and see if we can get something started.
Then you have the tools you need to continue to make our community safe. We don't need somebody getting killed because we didn't act appropriately.
But that's what I was just gonna
Yeah.
speak to. From what I've seen in my, just out on the streets as a citizen, they're not following the rules of the road. They're blowing through stop signs, the whole thing, and somebody's gonna get run over.
And it's part of the reason that they don't have licenses anymore is because
Yeah.
they were doing the same stuff in cars, you know, and that's why we
Don't
take
they have to
them.
have health reasons for getting the scooters, or can you just have a scooter because you can't drive anymore?
A lot of the people are just paying for them. I mean, I know Joe Conwell just got one. He paid $350 for it.
But he
It was
truly
used. I mean,
could use it.
but I'm just saying, you know, a lot of people are just paying cash. So you have to have health reasons if you want your insurance company to pay for it. But I know a couple of the elderly gentlemen, they just went up and paid cash because they have the money, you know. And so $1,200 is cheaper than what you pay for a car,
So everything comes down to just education, and so if we have an ordinance in place, then we educate them at the sale, we can give them the ordinance.
Yeah, we'll just
Please
take the
give them a
ordinance
copy of
down.
this when you sell this.
Yeah, and
Because
then as
this
we
law
address,
applies.
as we talk to people on the street, we just, as well,
Say here, yeah.
you know, hand out that ordinance and say, listen, this is what we're doing, we wanna make sure that you're safe.
I mean, it's gonna be pretty embarrassing when one of us, and it could be me, go around a corner and hit some, you know, paraplegic or whatever they're supposed to be in one of those things. It's we just ran down somebody in a scooter that is probably physically handicapped, and
Yeah.
if they're not obeying rules and you didn't even know that they were there because they're out in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So I think we need to protect both them and our
I
community.
agree, yeah,
Well, and
absolutely.
I know that one guy, he goes way like 20 miles an hour on the sidewalk. You know, I mean, and then some little kid come out and get a ball or the highway. I mean, somebody is gonna get.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's a great
it's
idea.
just a matter of time before
So we will
something
get
fairly
something done.
serious could happen.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
we have nothing else, we'll close the meeting at 4:35.